We're in America, Si. Give me 5. Boom!
After 25 years of biking around the world, the time has come for our most epic journey yet.
Dude, we're on our way. Route 66, America's main street. Over 2,000 miles of historic tarmac stretching from Chicago to LA.
It's another Route 66 icon!
This is a food odyssey through the heart of this great nation.
Oh, wow.
Yabba dabba doo. I'm going to eat it, I'll kiss it.
In search of the real American tastes, flavours and dishes.
Cowboy beans, look at that. That's extraordinary.
To discover these dishes, we'll journey east to west through 9 states, finishing on the Pacific coast of California.
Look at that, buddy. Isn't that the best?
It's a journey through America's modern history.
This road is nearly 100 years old now.
It's like stepping back in time.
And a chance to look into its future.
We come in peace.
We'll ride across great plains
Vast deserts,
and through must-see cities and small-town communities.
In Navajo culture, once you guys come here, you guys will actually be living as family.
meeting the incredible people who populate this iconic route.
Welcome to Mama's Gonna Be Kitchen!
This is set to be the ride of a lifetime. Look at that, dude.
Bon voyage.
We've reached Arizona and the penultimate leg of our road trip.
Look at that, dude. Now, I know we've taken a slight detour off Route 66, but it's worth it. It's amazing.
Yes! What a perfect place to start our adventure in what used to be known as the real Wild West.
And we're going to find out if the West is still wild.
This is the landscape of 1,000 Hollywood movies. I can practically hear the soundtrack.
On this stretch of Route 66, we will ride 500 miles across the heart of Arizona.
It's an incredible journey that will take us through arid deserts and green mountains before arriving in the legendary town of Seligman, the birthplace of the historic Route 66.
We're going to take you through some of the most incredible scenery you've ever witnessed.
But first, the marvel that is Monument Valley.
These dramatic rock formations are icons of the American West and one of the most majestic and photographed places on Earth.
They are also home to the Navajo, one of the largest Native American tribes. The Navajo have been part of this landscape for centuries, long before the European settlers arrived. Their heritage can still be found in their own language and their age-old traditions. And to really understand America, Kingy, we need to understand the indigenous people who lived here before anyone else.
We are meeting up with local Navajo guide Valentino to begin our journey into the heart of Navajo culture.
There's no motorbikes today.
No, well, we can't drive them around here, can we?
You can't drive them in Monument Valley.
Nope.
As we are venturing deep into Monument Valley, motorbikes are prohibited.
You must be Valentino.
Yes.
Very nice to meet you, sir.
Hello.
How are you?
Valentino, I'm Dave. Nice to meet
Yes,
you.
Valentino. Yeah, welcome.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
Yes.
And is this the vehicle we're going to go?
Yes,
look
this is the
at
vehicle
The
we're gonna
amazing
use.
Monument Valley.
Yes.
Oh, well, let's get
Brilliant.
it in and go. Shall
It's
we?
not a motorbike, but it'll do.
It'll do. It'll do.
Valentino grew up away from the reservation but came back 20 years ago. He offers tours of what the Navajo call the Valley of the Rocks. Today, he's brought his father Willie along for the ride.
Oh, it's just spectacular, isn't it? Just give us some idea about the size of the Navajo Nation.
It's about twice the size of Switzerland.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay, so it's, yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty big.
pretty big, yeah.
And how many Navajo people are there living in here?
There are about 500,000 Navajos living on the reservation.
Right.
And in this area, you probably have about 5,000.
How did the Navajo make a living here?
Most of the income right now has been through tourism.
Okay.
Right.
Yes. So about maybe 70% at least is tourism.
More than 400,000 tourists visit annually, drawn by the magic of Hollywood.
Oh, it's like being in a film set.
It's remarkable, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you think of all the Hollywood movies that's been made here.
Yeah, this is where they made the John Wayne movie, The Searchers.
All right.
Yeah, in this area.
And how important is Monument Valley to the Navajo?
To the Navajo culture keeper, this is a sacred area.
It's very special, isn't it?
It is. It's a very stunning place. Wherever you look, it's
Look
just
at that.
beautiful.
It may be jaw-dropping to look at, but imagine living out here in the heat and the dust.
Living must have been hard on the reservation.
In the old days, living was kind of hard.
Yeah.
If you live here, you ate once a day.
Is there a lot of poverty amongst the Navajo?
Yes, it is, yes.
How do you see the future going?
The 20 years that I've been back, a lot of things have changed. A lot of the utilities have been put in, running water, electricity, just recently, internet.
Right.
Yes,
What's your biggest hope for the Navajo Nation going forward?
that the people keep some of the culture.
It's so important that the youngsters grow up proud of their heritage and culture.
Yes.
On Route 66, we're trying to get to the heart of America. And what can be closer to the heart of America than the original American cultures?
The Navajo Reservation extends way beyond Monument Valley. It's like a small country.
It crosses into 3 states and it has its own government and police force.
Oh, that's good. Nice to meet you guys. How you guys doing today?
Tyrone is a real-life Navajo cop.
This is my wife, Tracy. On the force coming on 6 years now,
So you're in the police force as
Yes,
well, Tracy?
yes,
Oh,
yes.
right, okay, great.
So, Tyrone, what is the significance of the 5 flags?
And what's awesome about this place here, right here, is we have 5 different flags here. We have the American flag, the Navajo Nation flag, the Utah flag, the Arizona flag, and the New Mexico flag. So
Wow.
the whole thing behind that is we actually cover Utah, New Mexico, Arizona. That's basically
Navajo
all.
Nation.
Yeah, Navajo Nation all right there.
And then the
plus-
stars and stripes in the middle.
yes, it is. Yes, it is. That's Stars and Stripes in the middle. So.
It'd be so nice to find out more about Navajo food.
Oh,
Cuisine,
if you guys would like to, I can take you guys and get some good Navajo food.
if that's all right with you.
That's all right.
Definitely. You're more than welcome to our table. You know, Navajo culture, a visitor comes, sees you, you feed them.
Traditionally, the Navajo were farming people. They raised crops of corn, beans and squash, tough vegetables that could survive the harsh environment. Along with sheep, they still form the basis of the traditional Navajo diet.
Tyrone has brought us out to his family home to experience a Navajo family meal.
Hello, I'm Dave.
I'm Dorothy.
Nice to meet you, Dorothy.
Hello, Dorothy. How are you? Very nice to meet you.
In Navajo culture, the mother is almost the head of the household. She
So this
basically is the one that takes care of the
It
home.
is a
and-
matriarchal
Yes,
society.
it is the
Yeah.
matriarchal
So
society.
Dorothy is the boss.
Yes, she is. She definitely is the boss, you know.
At a Navajo family gathering, they butcher, cook and eat the sheep, all on the same day.
All the family gets together and it becomes a huge family meal. Of course, you know, you can feed about relatively 30, 40 people with a good size sheep.
And it's the women who do the butchering.
This has been in our traditional all our lives. My mom, my grandma.
Absolutely fantastic.
We learned this from an early age and learn how to butcher, learn how to cook, learn how to make cornmeal mush.
Who said the Wild West was all about macho men?
She's also very accurate with
Yeah.
that cleaver.
Sheep were introduced to the Navajo by the Spanish in the 17th century. They've been an important part of their culture ever since.
Dorothy, is this a traditional way of preparing the lamb
Yes,
or the mutton?
yeah.
Nothing's wasted. It's great. What's remarkable is that every single piece of the animal is used as a mark of respect, isn't it, as well?
Yes, it is. Everything's put to use and nothing's wasted.
Do all the family speak Navajo?
Yeah, for the most part, most families speak Navajo and English, so the first language that we grew
Yeah.
up speaking is Navajo.
Does she tell you off in Navajo or English?
In Navajo because it sounds a lot more meaner.
Yeah. You get the emphasis, yeah.
Tyrone, don't burn it.
Tyrone, you're in trouble too.
Yeah, I'm gonna get my earful
you're in
later
trouble.
on today.
Dorothy's sister Violet is equally formidable.
Okay, put them on there.
Out here, women rule the roost.
Just go
That
like
was
this. Look.
crazy.
Yeah, but you're not bothered what's what.
Oh, well.
Place them out like this.
Yeah, some good meat here.
Ashpiga.
Oh, Mabiga.
Oh,
In
Jenny,
Navajo, she's asking if it's okay.
is
if
that all right,
everything's
Dorothy?
okay.
Fine.
Okay, just fine.
You did a good job.
Thank you.
Make sure it doesn't burn. Flip it whenever.
Right. It's a definitely do as you're told culture.
It definitely is.
There's a real charm to the Navajo people. You can feel their respect for each other and the land around them.
You know, we all are tied here to the land. You know, everybody here is tied to land.
Yeah.
And for me, going into the Marine Corps for my services, I went overseas 3 times to Iraq, but there is no place like home.
What a place to be tied to.
It is.
Navajo cooking is fairly straightforward. The mutton is simply cooked on the barbecue grill.
While Cy cooks the meat, Dorothy is making the dough for a Navajo institution. Fry bread, using flour, salt, powdered milk and baking powder.
We always do this in a big old pan.
The Navajo fried bread is everywhere around here,
Yeah.
isn't it? You know, you get it on stalls in
This is going to be a little bit different because I add cornmeal in.
cornmeal, yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna come out like blue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little.
For the Navajo, fry bread has a real cultural significance. This simple food is symbolic of their troubled past.
Right, well, I'll keep them coming, you keep frying them.
Okay.
It originated from a dark period in Navajo history known as the Long Walk, when, in 1864, the Navajo people were forced at gunpoint to trek 300 miles to relocate to New Mexico. The government gave them flour, sugar, salt and lard. From those humble ingredients, fry bread was born.
We are almost ready to break this symbolic bread and to share in the sheep feast. But there is one thing that we won't be sharing.
The Navajo Nation is a dry reservation. They don't allow alcohol on the reservation.
Why is that? Why don't you have it here?
Alcoholism is a huge animal here. It's, you know, it's like the poison for the people here, so it's just not allowed here. Just for fear of what people are going to start doing. So.
And it's for the benefit of
Yes.
your society.
Yes, it is for the benefit of our society.
Finally, Dorothy is finishing off another traditional Navajo dish. Cornmeal mush. Kind of, well, like polenta.
It's time to eat, so I guess we'll have a seat and
bro.
enjoy dinner. Thank you.
Thank you.
Put me next to the fried bread.
Today, 38% of Navajos live below the poverty line, one of the highest rates in the US. So life is hard for these people.
Oh, it is good.
But I really admire the love and respect they have for their family, their forefathers, and the food that's on the table.
Tyrone, Dorothy and all the family and Tracy, we honestly can't thank you enough for your hospitality. And being here really is very, very special. Special food and special people. And thank you so much for having us.
You know, in Navajo culture, you know, once you guys come here, you guys will actually be leaving as family. So you guys are more than welcome to come back here, and you guys know you have a home and a family here. And you guys helping out and cooking out is definitely a good way to be initiated into a Navajo family. So
Guys, thank you so very much. It's been such a special day. It's been amazing. Food's fantastic, and it's been lovely to spend some time.
The Navajo are a culture in transition. They're preserving their past whilst working hard to embrace a rapidly changing and challenging future.
As part of that, the Navajo have built their own university.
The cattle are prowling, the coyotes are howling, way out where the dog is born. Where spurs are a-jingling, a cowboy is singing this lonesome cattle call.
We've travelled south to Tassili to visit Dine College. It is a tribally controlled college with almost 2,000 students, and it's really changed the lives of the younger generation of Navajo.
It's only been here for 50 years, this university, and it's given the Navajo independence. It's given the Navajo an educational establishment of merit on the Navajo lands.
Alongside the usual subjects like maths, science and history, students can study something a little more exciting.
You get a degree in rodeo.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Rodeo, a sport steeped in tradition and history. It grew out of the cattle industry of the 16th and 17th centuries, and it's anchored firmly in the folklore of the Wild West.
Hey. Hello, Terrell. I'm Dave.
Hi there.
Nice to meet you.
Hi, I'm Si. How are you?
It's an incredibly popular sport in America and a favourite with the Navajo.
The team.
Hello.
Hello, very nice
Hello.
to meet you. How are you?
This is the most original classroom I've ever seen in my life.
It's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
sir.
You can graduate in rodeo here.
Yes, sir.
How does that work? How long is the course?
Go to school here, 4 years.
That's a long time.
Yes, sir.
Wow. And what do you guys love about it? Why did you decide that you wanted to do rodeo?
Because it's in our blood.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's in our blood.
I grew up watching westerns that painted an image of an exclusively male world, but the reality is very different.
You know, I'm wrong, but I would expect that there was lots of men on the rodeo course, but it's not, is it?
It's because us girls are tough. Just-
I don't know why I'm surprised. As we've discovered, women occupy a very strong position in Navajo culture.
And besides all that, women have competed in rodeo for over 100 years.
Did you all grow up with horses and learn how to ride from a very, very young age? Yeah, so it's in your blood.
This is all about keeping those traditions and that level of horsemanship. It's about keeping that culture alive.
Yes, sir.
Right, rodeo.
Rodeo.
There are 7 events in rodeo, but the one the students are practicing today is called breakaway roping.
Got spurs on.
The aim is to throw a rope around the calf's neck as quickly as possible.
Wow.
Flipping heck.
Easier said than done. When the rider stops their horse, the rope immediately breaks off.
So it's all about
All right.
timing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Rodeo events like this one are tied directly to skills that cowboys used on the open range. Many of these skills are still used today.
So hard.
So hard, man.
So hard. We've got to be so 100% in control of the horse.
And focused as
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
It's so
yeah.
like...
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yes.
Yes.
That was a corker. Brilliant. It's such a privilege to see.
I want to go to a rodeo now.
We've got stuff to cook.
Yeah, well, mate, I know. I know.
OK, we've commandeered a quiet corner away from those cowboys and cowgirls to rustle up our tribute to Navajo culture.
Yeehaw! We're cooking a Navajo lamb stew with blue cornmeal dumplings. It's kind of like Navajo/cowboy hot pot. And trust us, it's one to do at home. It's lovely.
So in the pan, we put some oil.
In the pan, we put some oil.
And while that's heating up, we've got some nice lamb.
Best end of neck.
It's,
you know.
yeah, it's scrag end, as
Scrag
we
end.
would call it.
It's hot pot meat.
Got a little bit of bone in here as well, which is quite important for the flavour. Now, any of the fat, just trim it off, but we want to keep some of it in. And I'm just going to trim this off, season it in the pan, and just get that crispy outer side to it.
Yeah. I'm going to chop 2 onions.
This is the sort of size that you want them, look.
And the onions, I want the pan quite hot because I want them to brown a little bit. I want the onions quite nice and chunky and rustic. And we pop these into the hot oil. Oh, look at that.
Cook the onions for 5 minutes until they're soft and translucent.
We've got some spectators, Dave.
We're cooking lamb. It's all right, lads.
Don't you worry, fellas.
You're safe. And just let that onion sweat away. Now, I need a tablespoon of coriander seeds. And we're just going to crack these. Amazing with the lamb.
Keep an eye on your onions, though. Don't want them to burn.
And who said men can't multitask? Well, my wife, actually. Right, we put the coriander in now with the onions.
Dave is adding 3 cloves of garlic, roughly chopped, a tablespoon of thyme and 2 tablespoons of tomato puree.
Stir it all in, and then we're ready for Kingy's nicely browned neck of lamb.
All right, bud, perfect. Stir that in.
So we're going to deglaze the pan, get all those lovely cooking juices off the bottom.
It is a stew, so obviously we need liquid. And for this, we've got a litre of water. And you could use stock if you wanted. But when we tested this out, we found actually water worked really well.
Right. Look at that, Dave, it's gold.
Oh, yeah. And that needs to simmer away merrily for an hour.
You might...
Right, that's been going an hour. Oh, lovely. It's, of course, separated and cooked, and the lamb's beginning to cook down.
Oh, that's nice, Dave, looks good.
Now we need the veggies. So here we have 2 potatoes.
Potatoes?
3 carrots, 3 sticks of celery, half a hispy cabbage. There we go. That's to simmer for another hour, which gives us time to make blue corn dumplings and stripped sweet corn.
I love a stripped sweet corn.
Will you strip sweet corn then? I'll make blue dumplings. And look at this, it's rather beautiful. This is the blue cornmeal. It's a variety of corn. At home, just use ordinary cornmeal for this recipe. Don't stress yourself. You could use polenta, really, couldn't you, as well?
You could.
Yeah.
You could.
Yeah.
Blue corn is one of the oldest varieties, and it has about 30% more protein than the traditional yellow corn.
First off, we dry goods.
We're going to add 125 grams of our blue cornmeal to 125 grams of plain flour, along with a teaspoon of baking powder and another of dried thyme, a pinch of salt, then blend it all together.
So now we need to rub the butter in. Use your stick, clean hands, and rub the butter in until it's a crumb-like texture. I love making dumplings.
Do you?
Yeah, yeah.
Whilst Dave is getting all doughy-eyed about his dumplings, I'm stripping the corn.
Now we add the milk and form a dough. Who'd have thought blue dumplings? Don't want to knead them too much because I don't want leaden dumplings.
Oh, crumbs.
Oh, crumbs, look at that.
The sky is the same colour as our dumpling.
I know.
Hurry up.
Right, I'm hurry up. When you look the recipe up on the internet, it'll say it makes 6 dumplings. However, with the storm being imminent, I'm making 12 walnut-sized dumplings. It's
probably
Owing
best.
to the fact those smaller dumplings will cook quicker, and we've got a fair chance of not getting so wet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11 dumplings. 11 dumplings, that's smashing, that.
You counted one twice.
4, 5, 6, 11 dumplings. In with the corn. Oof. So it's lovely. We've got all the veggies, and now we've got blue dumplings. This is a technical Navajo stew. Should I put my dumplings in?
Definitely.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Come on, man, time's a-wasting.
11 dumplings. I'm just going to cover them a little bit. Just give them a start off, and they're going to steam away. Now we leave them for 20 minutes to swell up. Right, do you think we should take that risk? Have our purple cobbles turned into dumplings?
Yes. How beautiful does that look?
The dumplings have doubled nicely.
That, my friends, is our Navajo lamb stew with cornmeal dumplings.
Let's have a taste.
Right. Dumplings.
Dumplings, it's got to be, hasn't it?
Oh, they're light, Dave.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Man.
Oh, they taste great, man.
They do, they do. But remember, if you can't get the blue cornmeal, use ordinary yellow cornmeal or polenta. It works great.
Well, and you know, there's that sweet note with all the lovely corn. Oh, it's great.
We are leaving the Navajo Nation behind and heading back to Route 66 to travel west across arid Arizona.
Route 66 cuts right through the heart of this state, tracing the path of the old Santa Fe Railway as it goes.
Chartered in 1859, the railroad transformed the Wild West, making the inhospitable accessible and turning dusty patches of desert into booming cow towns.
These sprung up all along the lines, towns like Holbrook.
we've come to the historic Valley Livestock Auction here in Holbrook. This is the epitome of the Wild West, the kind of place where tumbleweed still blows in from the desert.
It's also the intersection of three nations, Apache, Hopi and Navajo, and a place where Native Americans and ranchers still trade today as they used to do hundreds of years ago.
Hello. Hello, Derek.
Good morning.
I'm Dave.
I'm Derek Wagner,
Nice
Dave.
to meet you, Derek.
Hello,
Eileen.
I'm Cy.
Eileen,
Very
nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Hi. Hi, Eileen. Hi, how are you?
Derek and his wife Eileen have been running the auction here since 1984.
The city of Holbrook was a big railroad stop. Cattle were shipped on the railroad. The Navajo Indians, when they had their wool crop, came down into Holbrook, loaded on trains, and shipped it back east to the mills.
It's a real meeting of cultural minds here, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, but everybody's here for the same purpose, and that's to buy and sell cattle. I've seen a cattle auction before. They speak really quickly. Are you doing the auction?
No, my brother, Chalk's my auctioneer.
And is he fast?
He's a good country auctioneer.
Yeah.
You'll be able to understand him, and if you get lost, you just put your finger up to your ear and he'll stop and be sure you know
that's
where you're
good.
at.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, though, there's some fine-looking beasts.
Some brilliant.
Really?
We just had a cowboy arrive with his horse.
Yeah, yeah.
See, look at that. That's the West, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tie your horse up, have a cup of coffee. Lovely.
I'm just realising how much the local community will depend upon this place. Just the crossroads of the cowboys, the Apache, the Navajo, and the Hopi.
That's fantastic.
You can feel the excitement building as it gets towards sale time.
I'm getting excited too. This really feels like the Wild West.
Sale time, folks. Everybody inside. Sale time.
We're ready to go. The hairy bikers and their entourage.
Thank you.
Well,
The crew.
Thanks,
Thank
John.
you. Thank you.
all right, here come the cattle. There's nice to start. All the way her up. Take $110. $1 can a buyer. $8. 110. 111. 112. 40. 16. $1.16.
What's that? What's that? The chant. The chant. The chant. It's magic.
130. 25.
I just love the sound of his volume.
130.
It's brilliant.
It's like he's speaking an unknown language.
They call it the cattle rattle. But I have a confession to make.
I have no idea what's going on.
No, I've got no clue at all.
5, 1. Money. Hold on.
There's so many different people here.
I love it the way every member of the community is coming together.
Yeah.
You know, it's a very important crossroads, this.
Oh, yeah. Well, you can tell because of the multicultural nature of it.
Yeah, of course.
You know, and that's wonderful.
In the modern era of factory farming in the US, a relatively small number of farms produce the lion's share of products. Small-scale farms and auctions like this are struggling to survive.
I hope they do, though. They're a window on the Wild West of old and still an important place for the local community today. We're back on the Mother Road, riding alongside its constant companion, the railroad.
Our next stop is Winslow, Arizona, the town that famously features in the Eagles country rock classic, Take It Easy.
Go on, Chuck. The song's writer, Jackson Brown, was standing on a corner in Winslow, Arizona, when his van broke down there in the early 70s. It's not Winslow's only claim to fame. This railroad town was also home to the first luxury hotel to open in the old Wild West.
A favourite destination of the Hollywood jet set, La Posada was the vision of one man, a man credited with civilising the West, an Englishman called Fred Harvey.
We've come to La Posada, which means the resting place, to find out a little more about the legendary Mr. Harvey from the current general manager, John.
Fred Harvey worked in hotels and restaurants in New York as a young lad and then came out west, worked on the trains on the railroad, and saw an opportunity that there was horrible food on the railroads in those days. You've heard of the expression, the slop house, right?
Yeah.
Okay, do you know the meaning of the slop house?
No.
The real meaning was to do with the railroads. So the trains would come up and stop for water and for fuel, and then there would be a questionable eating place there. Well, the eating place would collect the money on the way in, but then not bring the food until the train was about 3 minutes before it left. So they would start eating their food, mostly gruel, soups, things like that could just slop onto a bowl.
Right.
So then what happens? Woo, woo, woo. The whistle blows, the people get up, they leave the food in the bowl slop back into the pot.
Next one.
And they slush it up again. So Fred Harvey had this brilliant idea after opening a hotel in Topeka, Kansas, and he pitched it to the Santa Fe Railway. What if I ran the restaurants for you and the hotels along the railway? By the time you got to the 1900s, there were 40 restaurants, hotels across the line from Chicago to Los Angeles, and 20 rail cars serving food.
So it can be said to say that Fred Harvey truly was one of the people who tamed the Wild Wild West.
He was. He actually brought linen from Ireland, crystal from Europe, real silver from Sheffield. I mean, he did the real thing. I mean, it was absolutely authentic.
Now, when you said Santa Fe...
Santa Fe, aye.
That wasn't an Arizona accent.
No, I'm actually from County Durham.
County Durham?
Oh, no, I'm surrounded by them.
And that's also near Newcastle.
They do travel well, the Georges, don't they?
We hold up well.
So here we find ourselves at one of the premier historic hotels of America, and it's run by a Geordie.
Aye, how about
Get in.
That is it.
Well, the Geordie Mafia has struck again, hasn't it? How did you manage to persuade John to lend us his garden for this cook?
Oh, we're friendly, you see, us Geordies.
Aye, man, pet man.
Yes, you did. Did you see when we were having a crack with him? He just fell into that Geordie accent.
Oh, he
It was
did.
hilarious.
Yeah. He crumbs. Right, we're going to be cooking quesadillas. Quesadillas.
How do you get that?
It's pulled chicken. Everybody's got pulled pork now. Pulled chicken. But we use a mixture of chicken thighs and chicken breasts. And when it's all pulled together, you get a better texture and flavour.
You certainly do.
It all starts with a taco mix.
For that, we're getting spicy. 2 tablespoons of chili powder, same again of ground cumin, 1 tablespoon of sweet paprika, another of dried oregano, followed by a tablespoon of garlic powder. Then it's a teaspoon of onion powder, the same of black pepper, and another one of salt. Make sure you mix it all together like you would a good pina colada.
Now, for this amount of chicken, you want about 4 tablespoons of our taco mix.
And all we do is sprinkle it over, and then we're going to massage it into that meat.
But it is like pulled pork. We need to cook this chicken low and slow so that it shreds and pulls apart. So some olive oil goes into the pan.
A preheated pan, and we're just gonna... This is the sort of heat that you want. It's not too intense.
Patiently pan-fry the chicken until it's golden brown.
Oh, it looks so good. You know it's going to taste really good, don't you?
Yeah, I'm excited about this.
Ready for the liquids?
Yes, please, mate, yeah.
Right, about 250 ml, that's half of this of passata.
As well as the passata, add 250 ml of chicken stock. Chuck in a couple of beautiful bay leaves.
And a tablespoon of cider vinegar to give it an edge.
And of course, salt and pepper.
We put the lid on it. We simmer it quite slowly for about 2 hours.
Well, that's the chicken on, but there is a veg part to mix once we've got the pulled chicken. So we can get on with that, can't we?
Yeah, let's do that, man. Let's get
Oh,
prepped.
God, even in the Wild West, I'm cutting up onions again. You do the peppers.
I'll do the peppers.
Yeah, I won't spoil tradition.
For the vegetable medley, slice 1 onion, 1 red pepper, a green pepper, and 2 cloves of garlic.
Chop them up into generous chunks, not too fine, and then toss the onions and peppers into a pan of hot oil.
Let that cook for a couple of minutes, then we put in the garlic and another tablespoon of our magic taco seasoning. Arriba, arriba, ondele, ondele. Do you know, I think this is just right. How long have we got on the chicken?
An hour and a half.
Oh, all right. Let's go to salsa class then.
Should we?
Yes. Uno, dos, tres.
Quattro, cinque, seis.
Let's go and have a cup of tea.
I know they do tea here.
They do tea.
Never had tea for ages.
Hola!
After a relaxing brew and a little train spotting,
Right. Let's have a look.
OK. Now it's time to pull our chicken.
Yep.
Take 2 forks. Put one. Do you know what to do? Just pull it.
Now, you can imagine the intensity of this sauce. So you put the veggies in there. You've got the onions, the peppers, the garlic, and some of our taco mix. And now we want the juice of a lime in here too. Oh, beautiful. It's a sweet little recipe, this. It's really quite straightforward cooking, but it's really got depth.
And the chicken?
And we don't want this too sloppy, which is why we've reduced the sauce. And I think this is absolutely perfect. Now, that's the engine room for your quesadilla. I want to chop a couple of spring onions quickly. And the nice thing about the quesadillas, the way we're doing it, we're going to do kind of a fully loaded one. But if you have somebody who doesn't like spring onions, leave it out. Don't like coriander, leave it out. Beautiful. I've got the chicken and pepper mix, so we load up one side of the tortilla. Needs a bit of red. I think that's enough to you.
That's going to look lovely.
we're loading up our pre-bought tortillas with avocado, spring onions, some lovely pickled jalapenos, and a sprinkling of coriander. Finally, a mix of grated red and white cheddar.
And then toast the other side, we just flip it over.
That's going to melt the cheese. And we serve this with some lime and sour cream, a sprinkling of our taco mix. It's the best quesadilla I've ever tasted.
Oh, it's really good.
You know, this is ever so civilised, eating quesadillas in this fine establishment.
Seems not everything is wild in the Wild West.
Well, it's all right. Riding around in
And the further the west we go, the greener the landscape.
if you live the life you please, well, it's all right. Doing the best you can, well.
We're passing through the city of Flagstaff, nestled in pine forests with mountains soaring off into the distance. It's not what you picture when you think of Arizona.
A must-see on many a Route 66 road trip itinerary. Flagstaff is an old railroad and lumber mill town that's been given a new lease of life by a vibrant student population.
What on earth's that?
What is it?
It's like R2-D2. We come in peace. We can't help but notice as we're riding through the campus what appeared to be an escapee from Star Wars across the road.
Yeah.
What is it all about?
Oh, you're talking about the Starship robots?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, they're amazing.
You have an app on your phone and you can order food from it from locations that are on campus and it'll deliver right to where you want it to.
Bring on the future.
Yeah.
Can you show us what to do?
Of course, yeah, come on, let's go.
Oh,
Thank
yeah,
you.
all right, then, great.
At the Northern Arizona University, there are 32 of these sophisticated robots busying about the campus. Powered by technology similar to that used by self-driving cars, the robots are able to navigate roads and paths all over the university.
Encouraging students to study more rather than waste time queuing for food. And it's working.
Oh, look, there's the herd.
The most popular delivery? Pizza, of course.
Hi, how are you all? Yeah, nice
Hello.
to see you. How does it work then? Do you order it and how long does it normally take? Is your pizza hot when it arrives or is it cold or?
15 to 20 minutes is what they
Depends on where
say.
you
Yeah,
are.
and then what time of day you order it. If you order it during lunch hours, you're gonna be waiting a minute because the traffic is so bad.
Robot jam.
robot traffic.
Many
Human
people
traffic.
ordering.
Can we see how this
Yes,
how this works?
Here they come.
No way. With a pizza?
It's not ours.
I don't know if that's ours.
Oh, there's another one crossing there.
I wouldn't be surprised if they took over the world at some point.
The robots are able to see 360 degrees and they have a, I quote, situational awareness bubble around them to avoid any obstacles.
That'll do. Yeah, come here. Come on. Come on, I delivered the lumberjacks. Oh, yeah. Hello.
Open here. It's not opening.
The only way to unlock the robot to get your food is through the app on the phone that made the order.
It's warm as well. It's all a cosy robot.
I have a
That's
theory.
us. Now do you shut his lid?
Yes.
Cheers, mate.
Then we just send robot away.
Bye-bye.
Can't he stay for tea?
Have a nice day.
Oh, I feel loved. Oh, I love it. The robot wished me well and I felt a glow.
Ooh. Ooh, this is a robot happy pizza.
Yes.
It is, isn't it?
Would you like some pizza?
No, thank you.
We didn't come to Flagstaff for pizza, Kingy. We are in search of something way more precious than that. There's gold in them there hills.
With an elevation of 7,000 foot, Flagstaff is one of the highest points on Route 66. And the combination of its climate and altitude makes it perfect for an American favourite. Honey.
Believe it or not, in the hills behind Flagstaff, you can find some of the most unique honey in the country.
Hello there.
Hello there. Hello.
Welcome.
Patrick.
Yes, I'm Patrick.
Patrick Pines has been beekeeping in Arizona for 28 years.
Nice to meet you. How are you?
Oh, it's a bit nicer getting into the fresh air up here.
Oh, it's wonderful.
And what a place to keep bees.
Yeah, it's a great place. 2.5 acres of land. There's plenty of flowers. Last year we made quite a bit of honey. We had a good monsoon season.
Can we go and see the bees?
Yes, let's go take a look.
Thank you.
Great. Follow me.
For that, we have to get suited and booted.
I feel like Neil Armstrong.
I do. Have I got far to walk?
Follow me.
Bees are protective of their product, and they're cautious of big, dark animals approaching their hive. By wearing white, a beekeeper can get close to the hive without the bees becoming defensive.
The reason why we're strapped up like this is they're not your average bees, are they?
No, they're a little different from the temperate or the European honeybees. These are Africanized bees.
You mean like African killer bees?
Yes, they do call them that. It's kind of a stereotype, but they do have different temperament, different genetics.
Yes.
Because they evolved in a tropical environment in the southern hemisphere.
So they work here to make honey?
Yes, they do. And I like the fact that they're a little more prickly because they can survive in this pretty harsh environment, and they're very resilient. And you know, with the threats to all bees, not just honeybees, all pollinators, I think we need bees like this.
The African honeybee came to Arizona in the early 90s. It is well suited to the dry Arizona savanna, and they're genetically more resilient to disease and parasites, which matters in a world where honeybees are dying in droves.
It's fair to say if bees died out, it would be a complete catastrophe. And it would be a totally different world, wouldn't it?
In terms of pollination of plants, of nuts and fruits and vegetables, without the bees, we'd be left pretty much with only wind-pollinated food, which is, you know, pretty bland stuff, like corn and wheat and rice. We'd be missing our strawberries and our blueberries and our almonds and all of those wonderful things, plus honey, which is my reason for being a beekeeper, was falling in love with honey when I was a little boy.
The cooler climate in this elevated part of Arizona takes the sting out of the killer bees. Cooler temperatures mean calmer bees.
Hey, girls.
And a little smoke doesn't do any harm.
You can tell it's been cold here. Until recently, we had snow last week, believe it or not.
Good grief.
So this is their insulation from the cold.
Patrick is working his way into the center of the hive to get to the largest honeycombs.
Whoa. Wow.
There's some fresh nectar on the right. Up in here, you see where it's kind of shiny?
Yeah.
That's nectar that's going to turn into honey. Oh yeah, there's a bunch of fresh nectar, so something's blooming in the neighborhood within about 3 miles.
Northern Arizona's diverse terrain makes it ideal for a wide variety of plants that are attractive to the bees.
It's such a beautiful thing to look at, Dave, isn't it?
Yeah, it
It's
is.
just absolutely exquisite. The wonders of the natural world and bees.
These little creatures are essential to human well-being.
And my sweet tooth.
I'm just going to take the knife and cut this lovely honey that we've harvested from the bees from like last June near Sedona to make this honey. It takes many millions of flowers to make that much honey. Strained raw local honey from Oak Creek Canyon near Sedona, Arizona.
Time for a taste of honey.
It's a hard life, Dave, but somebody's got to do it.
It looks kind of like banana pudding or something.
Oh, wow. It's blossom.
It's intensely sweet. Still pretty buttery. It hasn't changed at all
It's
in 5
buttery.
years.
It's like almost a toasty.
To me, it's the butterscotch.
Yeah.
We call the La Posada here the incredible spreadable.
It's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
Thank you
Thank you so much. It's been one of the best
Thank
days.
you.
It has.
Thank you for coming.
You know, Kingy, I think that was one of the high points of our journey.
And one of the highest points of our journey.
Who said that Arizona was a dry, arid desert? Well, it is. It isn't here, though, is it?
It isn't here. Look, we have pine trees, and look at the back here. We have the San Francisco Peaks, the highest peaks in Arizona at 12,633 feet. What we're cooking, mate?
Well, you know, we've obviously got to feature Patrick and Sharon's honey. And we want to feature trout as well, because there's trout streams here that are full of fantastic fish.
We are.
So we think honey, fish, we've got to go Asian. So we're going to do a soy and honey glazed trout with a soy and honey and chili bok choy.
What's not to love?
It's wok static. We haven't got a wok, though. We've got our cowboy pans. So I'm about to fillet and pinbone these fish.
While Dave's doing that, I'm just going to grate some root ginger. About a 5 centimetre piece, but about the size of your thumb, be fine.
The one thing I hate, it's bones in your fish. So my trusty tweezers, just go with my finger down there and start plucking. You can see, look, all these little bones. Have a close look. That's what we're trying to get out. See?
I'm grating 3 lovely, fresh, they're very lovely, these garlic cloves. Take the juice of a lime, and then we've got the juice of an orange.
Onto this 75ml of light soy sauce, 75ml of dark soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of rice wine vinegar, a dash of sesame oil, and then it's time for the liquid gold.
This is our Patrick and Sharon's honey.
By God, this is good.
This is good. You see that? These are from the bees that pollinate all of this area.
Yeah. Right. Now, there we have the 4 beautiful fillets of trout. Now, before I put the marinade in, I just want to slash the skin side.
Dave's slashing for a reason. It stops the trout from curling up in the pan.
And make sure all the fish is covered. Now, that should take about half the marinade.
We'll let the marinade serenade the trout for about half an hour.
While the trout are marinating, it gives us time to do the pak choy. Now, I want to cut this into, look at that, probably 8s, because it is quite chunky choy.
While I chop the choy, Kingy is mixing up a magical elixir. Half honey, half soy, with a splash of water.
Take Dave's beautifully prepared fillets out of the marinade. I'm just going to pat them dry slightly. I'm going to cook them skin side down initially for about 3 minutes.
I reckon that once you turn those fish over, that's my signal for cracking on with the
I think you're
the
absolutely
choy.
spot on.
Yeah.
There, mate. Yeah.
Be careful when you're turning these beauties. You don't want them to fall apart.
I want a lot of heat on this. I find peanut oil or groundnut oil is the best for kind of Asian cooking. The garlic goes in. As you can see, the garlic's starting to brown. That's my signal. It's time for the pak choi.
Pak choi is an ace Asian vegetable, and you can get it pretty much anywhere.
Now, while Dave's cracking on with that, I'm now going to reduce that beautiful fish marinade.
I'm going to do that in the same pan that I cooked the fish in.
Right, that's just starting to colour. So in with that wonderful honey, soy and water. And now some chilli flakes, as much or as little as you like. I love this recipe. Isn't that beautiful?
Turn off the heat and finish with a drizzle of sesame oil.
That's now a glaze, because look, as I push the brush through, it trails. And that's a sign of the right consistency.
It's pretty intense flavour on that.
It is, because that's the whole thing about reducing anything. It pushes it all together and gives it a real punch.
Let's get this out on the plate.
We want that. Beautiful. Oh, that just on there.
Really fresh flavour now. Some chopped spring onion goes on the top.
A little bit of curry, not too much, just a little bit. And then the final pièce de résistance, the black
sesame seeds. Now that's for Patrick and Sharon.
It is.
For being so warm to us.
And it's our tribute to their fantastic product, which is the honey.
Well, there's no stinging this tail, Kingy. Life just doesn't get much better than this.
Wow. Oh, look at that. With a flake on that.
Oh, mate. Yes. That's superb.
Mmm. That was the most amazing diversion off Route 66.
Wasn't it just, but we're right bang on it now, Dave, on the Mother Road.
Yeah! We've reached the legendary town of Seligman.
This place was responsible for the rebirth of Route 66. After traders here convinced the state of Arizona to declare the route a historic highway.
Hey, I'll take a look on around tonight and find where my baby is gonna be.
This truly is historic Route 66.
Hey, Lord, would you look out for her tonight?
It feels it.
It does, it does.
And you can tell, because look.
Yes.
Everybody's celebrating it on the roadside.
Yeah. Go on, let's go and have a brew.
No, I fancy something, like, different.
Yeah, I do too. Wow.
Morning, guys.
Morning, I'm Dave.
I'm John.
Nice to meet you, John.
Morning, John. I'm Si.
Nice to meet you, Si. How you guys doing? You looking for a shake?
I'll have strawberry, please.
Can I have a large root beer freeze, please?
Root beer freeze?
Yep. Look, we've got to add to this. We've got to add to this wall.
Go on, get you.
I've got a dollar. It's my lucky dollar. I keep for special occasions.
This eccentric store is a major stop on many a Route 66 pilgrimage, and I can see why.
How long has this place been here, John?
66 years.
Wow.
Right. My father opened in 1953.
So you're second generation
this gentleman
here?
right here. One.
Wow.
One.
Well, Route 66, it seems to provide that freedom for people's big personalities and characters to, well, to do this, really.
Yes, exactly. Right.
I suppose it symbolises freedom.
This quirky place is so much more than just another Route 66 gift shop. It's a family business that nigh on saved the town and this historic stretch of the road.
And we're about to meet the man responsible for that salvation, a man they call the guardian angel of Route 66.
Sit down, Uncle Angel.
Well, his name's very apt.
Angel, when did you first come to Route 66?
I was born on Old Route 66.
92 years ago.
92 years.
That's remarkable.
It's remarkable.
So what's the changes that you've seen on Route 66 over that time, Angel?
We've lost so much of who we used to be. Yeah. And we, the people, helped to save a little bit of history.
Was Seligman instrumental in saving and preserving Route 66?
The town died September 22nd, 1978, at about 2:30 in the afternoon.
Yes.
They finished building 100 miles of freeway, and our government put it to use.
Yeah.
And the town died for 10 long years.
Like so many other places along the Mother Road, Seligman became a ghost town when the modern interstate freeway diverted traffic off Route 66.
The average person does not understand what it is to be forgotten.
Oh, it's very
We
true.
lived it 10 long years. I can't emphasize, 10 long years we were forgotten. No one cared.
But Angel did. He was determined to save Seligman and the historic road it was tied to.
My brother Juan and I, we would sit right there in the evening and talk about how do we get the economy back. We figured out we'll ask the state to make it historic, but no one listened.
His pleas to designate the road a historic highway fell on deaf ears. But Angel is not the kind of guy to give up without a fight.
We all grew up during the Depression. We did not know what the word no meant. To give Route 66 its historic rebirth, we the people united. Boom, finally we got the attention. After talking about it for 10 years, we finally did something. October of 1987, the State Department finally made Route 66 historic from Seligman to Kingman.
Wow. That was the start of it, because now, thanks to what you did, we're sitting here now.
Right.
Angel's crusade not only revitalised Seligman, but it also reawakened the world to the wonders of Route 66 and the old-fashioned Americana that it celebrates.
Route 66 will never die.
No.
Because of this gentleman right here. It's
Yes,
never
sir.
gonna die. It's never gonna die.
It's fantastic.
It is fantastic.
With all the miles we've travelled, speaking to Angel, I'm beginning to understand Route 66. And thank you for that.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
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 What a journey we've been on, mate.
Yes, Si, Arizona is everything I imagined and so much more.
Kingy, do you think we've discovered the real Wild West?
Oh, definitely, mate, definitely. I think it's alive and well and part of the culture, for sure.
We've had everything from barbecue to bees, with the odd robot thrown in.
True.
I've loved it. I'll be sad to leave Arizona behind.
You know what, mate, so will I, actually. I've really enjoyed it. But we're not leaving Route 66 behind. Not just yet.
Well, mate, we've made it, Los Angeles.
Yeah, La La Land. Si, let's go west to California.
Like so many folk before us,
It really does represent the American spirit.
cooking some awesome dishes along the way.
This is flavour that really packs a punch.
Discovering the latest food trend.
It's cooking with marijuana.
I've never had anything like this before.
And we reach Santa Monica, the end of the Mother Road.
We've done it. Yes.
I'm back for a new series, and for the first time ever, I will be joined by a different esteemed co-host every week. I'm delighted to say that Mark Ronson has agreed to take up this challenge on our opening show.
Join us for lots of great music and chat later with Jules Holland on BBC Two.